What's going on, to Knicks Chicks family? I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, riding, rolling, solo dolo. Hope everybody had a beautiful, uh, filled Thanksgiving. I know it's the day after. I was supposed to go on yesterday, but I'm here today, which works out because the Knicks just wrapped up their road trip where they went 3-2. I don't remember what I had the Knicks at. I feel like I had them. Could have been 3-2. I'm not sure. I should have looked at that before I logged on. But we're gonna go back because I don't even want to get on the Charlotte game right now. I want to talk about the Dallas game where the Knicks just got outplayed. I rewatched that game, and it's funny because considering, Dallas was missing a lot of their key guys, and they were playing with more of the kind of sort of like the BC squad players. I mean, look, I'm looking at the points here, the stats. Quentin Grimes played 29 minutes. He had 21 points. And then I remember in that game, I don't know if it was campaign. He fouled Quentin Grimes on the 3-point line, and then he was able to connect and hit the free throw. So I'm not sure why. We talked about this before. Why are you fouling on the 3-point line? But Quentin Grimes had 21 points. Kyrie Irving had a steady game, 23 points. No one had an answer for Kyrie Irving. He did whatever he felt like doing. PJ Washington finished with a double-double, had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. No answer for him at all. He did whatever he felt like doing. Spencer Dinwiddie did whatever he felt like doing. 21 points, 9 assists. No answer for him. I'm still not over the Quentin Grimes with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He played 29 minutes. Then you had Najee Marshall. He had 24 points. This wasn't a good game. The first quarter, the Knicks got out hustled. They looked tired. No defense, very lackluster. And I'm surprised the Knicks were able to cut into it, you know, what they lost 129, 114. But the first quarter, the score was 28-15. The Knicks outscored Dallas the third and fourth quarter, 33-30 in the third, 43-39. But it still wasn't enough because Dallas, they were smart. Every time the Knicks got within maybe like anywhere between 12 and 15, they were calling a timeout. It wasn't enough. The Knicks were playing a game of catch up, but the defense just looked terrible. Didn't have any production from OG Anunoby, who had 8 points, 5 rebounds, played 40 minutes. Josh Hart, of course, led with the points, with minutes as well. Played 42 minutes, 12 points. Karl Anthony Towns finished with a double-double. He had 25 points, 14 rebounds. Mikal Bridges had a steady game. Defense wasn't good either, though. 39 minutes, 20 points, 5 rebounds. And Jalen Brunson played 36 minutes, scored 37 points. 6 points from campaign, 5 points from Mikal Bridges. Where was the production? I don't know where was the production offensively and where was the production defensively. Because it's one thing if you're having an off shooting night, but there was no effort defensively. The Knicks didn't play any defense. Didn't play any defense at all. It was very lackluster. I watched, who was it on Dallas? PJ Washington. Went several times, went right by Josh Hart. Because the Knicks keep playing defense on the side of the offensive player, and you can't play side hip defense. You have to cut the lane off, and they're not doing that. And I can hear Tibbs yelling whatever he's yelling, because God knows what Tibbs is saying. It just sounds like a Cookie Monster with cookies stuck in his throat, and he's trying to yell whatever he's trying to yell. I don't know what he's saying. Stop, get him, quick, out. I don't know what it is. I keep trying to make it out. It's just a terrible game. Just a terrible game by the Knicks. And the Knicks should have capitalized. I thought they would have, because I remember last year during the season, we had an issue beating Dallas. They were one of the teams that I said the Knicks need to figure out how to beat Dallas. And just like when we played Utah in Utah, and I thought the Knicks would have turned the page this year, the Knicks couldn't figure out how to beat Utah in Utah. And we're literally just in a new season and showing the same signs of lackluster defense, of effort. I saw a couple of possessions where someone ran out. OG Anunoby, I don't know what was going on with the floor either. OG Anunoby, I don't know if it was his sneakers. He slipped a couple of times on the floor, was making me nervous. But I saw him a couple of times. He would run out, put his hand up, running towards the defender while they were shooting the threes. It just wasn't a good game by the Knicks. It wasn't a good game. Knicks shot 46% from the field goal line. Dallas at 56. Knicks was 7 for 25 from three-pointers. Dallas was 17 for 33. They were at 24%. Dallas at 51. Knicks were 27 for 30, 90% for the free throw line. Dallas was 16 for 21, 76%. The Knicks got out-rebounded 43 to 33. Dallas finished with 27 assists. New York had 20. They had 5 blocks. New York had 3. The Knicks did have 9 steals. Dallas had 6. And I think the positive you can pull out of this was that the Knicks only had 8 turnovers, whereas Dallas had 13. Points in the paint look good too. The Knicks had 58 points in the paint. Dallas had 54. But my big takeaway from that game was that the defense just wasn't, you allowed them to score 129 points. And the Knicks went on a slight push. And when I was doing my notes for today, I was like, oh, well, the last 2 minutes was good. It wasn't even a full last 2 minutes, because there was a couple of like mistakes, silly mistakes by the Knicks, that I was like, I tried to give you a little leeway, but just wasn't a good game. You know, the Knicks, like I said, the third and fourth quarter, they outscored Dallas, but it wasn't enough, because there was a constant game of playing catch up. Just defensively, the Knicks weren't locked in. And I don't know what's going to be the turning point of the Knicks playing better defense. You can't tell me it's going to be when Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa comes back. Sure, it may be. I could be wrong. But you're telling me so those are the only 2 guys that play defense, and they're going to help make the difference on this Knicks team? Can't be. It just doesn't even make any sense. I didn't like that game by the Knicks against Dallas. I don't know if the Knicks were tired because they've been on the road. You know, again, miss me with that. You're getting paid millions of dollars. This is a professional sport. Our teams, our players going to have off nights? Absolutely. But I just thought the effort from the jump ball just wasn't there by the Knicks. Fine, we move on. The Knicks play Charlotte today, early game. I get a little worried when the Knicks play early games, because sometimes they don't play well. You had off yesterday, so you should have had however many plates of food you had and well rested for today. Cool. This was the Knicks' third in-season tournament game. The Knicks barely beat Charlotte, 99 to 98. And barely because if that last 3-pointer would have went in, by Josh Green, the Knicks would have lost. Knicks got outscored in the first quarter again, 23-15. They picked it up in in the second quarter. They outscored Charlotte 31-26. And then same thing with the next two quarters. Third and fourth quarter, they outscored them. But Charlotte played a lot of their no-name guys that rookies, guys that are really considered on the BC squad, because they can afford to do that. They have depth that they can do. They can do that considering they have a lot of injuries on the team right now. But that also speaks volumes and says a lot. They almost beat you without LaMelo. The Knicks, I don't understand how you almost lost this game. A win is a win, but I wasn't impressed in the fashion that the Knicks won this game. Honestly, when I was watching this game, it looked like two rival high school teams playing against each other at times. And then at other times, it kind of looked like a game of pickup ball. And they was just hooping on a local YMCA gym. And it was just up and down, up and down. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the Knicks have been on the road for a while and they're just ready to just wrap it up, get back home, but it doesn't matter if you're on a 15 game, 11 game road trip. You got to figure out how to win on the road. You got to figure out how to win regardless. You was playing 12 games at home at MSG. Figure out how to win. You let guys on the Hornets who don't normally play outplay you. KJ Simpson, 11 points. Brandon Miller had 20 points. Josh Green had 15. And Salone had 14. Then you had a couple other guys who gave you 9 points, 8 points, 6 points here. Everybody damn near scored on the team. Everybody got a point. Everybody scored something, contributed something on this team. Because they have depth. They can afford to do that. Also, their coach, I'm sure, trusts putting in these guys. Whereas Tibbs doesn't trust putting in, guys who should be getting some minutes. Tibbs is going to keep rocking with the same lineup. That's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. Sure, you're going to get Mitchell Robinson back whenever that happens. You're going to get Precious Achiuwa back. It's not sustainable. Josh Hart is leading with the minutes. He played 41 minutes, finished with a double-double, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. Another quiet game from OG Anunoby, 40 points, 8 points. OG Anunoby slipped on that floor about 6 times. I don't know if someone had turkey grease dripping from their foreheads. I don't know why the floor was so slippery in Charlotte today. He slipped about 4 or 5 times. I said, what is going on? Why does he keep falling on the floor? Karl Anthony Towns played 39 minutes, finished with a double-double, had 19 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Mikal Bridges, not sure what's going on there. He had played 37 minutes, had 8 points. That's not enough. He wasn't brought here to give us 8 points. You should get 8 points from, I don't know, maybe Campaign on some nights if he's having a quiet night. Maybe if you're lucky and you got Jericho Sims, you was able to feed him the ball. But Charlotte played really good defense against the Knicks. They didn't do anything special. They just was ready for them. They weren't going to allow the Knicks to do whatever they wanted to do. And again, the Knicks were playing against guys who don't normally get any minutes. Jalen Brunson played 37 minutes, finished with 31 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Deuce had a solid game defensively. Helped out late in the fourth. Finished with 27 minutes, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Campaign played 11 minutes. He has 6 points. Knicks was 44% field goal percentage, Charlotte was at 40. Knicks were 12 for 32 from the 3-point line. Charlotte was 15 for 47. Free throws, the Knicks were 15 for 19 at 78%. The Knicks did out-rebound Charlotte 44 to 39. They finished with 20 assists. Charlotte had 25. Knicks had 5 blocks. Charlotte had 6. Knicks had 7 steals to Charlotte's 8. But the biggest stat that stands out for me, that literally blows my mind, the Knicks had 19 turnovers. And this is why I say the game looked like a game of pickup. A game of two teams that's battling each other, but we just doing whatever we feel like doing. The Knicks don't even look like they're running plays, if you ask me. Sure, this win gave the Knicks a 3-0 in the in-season tournament. That's all great, but I think the goal has to be bigger than the in-season tournament. Yeah, it would be nice if the Knicks won that, to win something, but I think you have to strive for more than just that. And, you know, sure, if the Knicks can beat Orlando on Tuesday, they'll move on and have an advantage in the quarterfinals and the in-season tournament. Yeah, but I'm more concerned with the regular season. I'm more concerned with the defensive effort and the lack of the defensive effort from this Knicks team. You had 19 turnovers today and barely won the game. Scraped the win by 1 point. Because if that last 3 went in, you were done. So I'm not sure what is it going to take for the Knicks to pick up defensively, because something's got to give. Something's got to give. They play Sunday against New Orleans at 6. That's another early game. And then they play again in the in-season tournament game, against Orlando on Tuesday. And if they win that game, Knicks are pretty much locked in for the remainder of the NBA, the NBA Cup. You know, I look at this Knicks schedule. Sunday they play New Orleans. Tuesday they play Orlando. Thursday they rematch against the Hornets. Then the next game after that, following Saturday, they play Detroit. Then they play Toronto, Minnesota, a rematch against New Orleans, a rematch against Toronto, and then they play Christmas Day against the Spurs. And I look at a few of the games even after Christmas Day. You play Orlando, Washington, Utah. The Knicks, I would like to see the Knicks finish off this year strong. Finish off this year strong. There's a lot of teams here that the Knicks can beat. You shouldn't be losing to the teams that you should be beating. Your Detroits, your Washingtons. You should be beating teams like Toronto. They're beatable. Charlotte. The Knicks have issues against Orlando, but you should be beating them. New Orleans. But I want to see them finish off this year strong. Josh Hart said in the post game, the offense isn't clicking. I need a deeper dive into what he's talking about. That it's not clicking. Because the defense isn't clicking. The offense is clearly clicking in some way, shape, or regard. Even when you have guys like OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, who the past 2 games didn't really give you much. It's still clicking. Sure, does the burden fall heavily on Jalen Brunson? Absolutely. And Carl Anthony? Absolutely. But it's not the offense that's not clicking, it's the defense. There's a good handful or more of games so far that the Knicks have played that they should have won. And a big part of the reason why they didn't win those games is because the Knicks defense is terrible. It's terrible. It's not good. When I watched the Dallas game, and even when I watched today's game, I was like, this Knicks team, like, they'll be lucky if they win 50 games. And I saw someone post on X, can this Knicks team win 50 games again? I think the Knicks can win 50 games, but I hate that we're settling just for 50 games. Like, why are we not setting higher expectations for this team? And I just feel like we can't use excuses of like okay, last year the Knicks was in a different situation. There was a man down situation where we had a ton of injuries. And you know, unfortunately, we have a center who's injury prone. He's out. I don't think they was expecting Precious Achiuwa to be out. But even if he was here, I don't think that the outcome would be drastically different. The only thing I'll say with the offense is that, yeah, sometimes there's not enough ball movement. There's not those unselfish extra passes. The Knicks do it great some games, and then they're not a team that's about consistency. So what may work one or two games, they shy away from that and won't utilize it. It's like they're trying something new. Let's try this combination out. Maybe that'll work. It's not working. Stick with what works for you. Sure, you're going to get different defenses thrown at you, different defensive schemes thrown at you. Sure, that's going to happen. It's supposed to be a challenge every game that you play against different teams. But I just feel like this Knicks team, they're not consistent. They're not consistent defensively. They're not consistent offensively. I don't even see the pick and roll being used consistently with Brunson and Carl Anthony. I don't see it. Sometimes when Jericho comes in the game, he looks like he's in a way. When Brunson's trying to drive, sometimes he's trying to set the screen so that his man could get out of the way and then Brunson could go one-on-one. But there's times where he's in the way. Sometimes I see a lot of sloppy passes from Mikal Bridges. The defense is just not there from everybody. They're a step or two too slow. I just, the consistency is just not there with this team. And I understand that when you look at the stats for this New York Knicks team on paper, it says one thing. But when I visually watch the games, I'm not seeing what the stats sheets show. Some games, sure, it looks good. You barely won tonight. You barely won this afternoon, excuse me. Barely won. A win is a win. We'll take it. They're not going to always be pretty. I get that. But if that basketball didn't do a toilet bowl around the rim, and then there would have been some reasoning or excuse or something that was press friendly said in the post game. And I keep saying that the Knicks have to figure out their differences now before we get deeper into the season, because you shouldn't be trying to fix those things later at the later end of the season. And this team has to figure out how to gel and play together. Sometimes they do it. Like I said, it's the lack of consistency. And then other times they don't. So Josh Hart saying that the offense isn't clicking. sir, the defense isn't clicking either. You guys have terrible defense. It's just not good. And I don't know, at the rate that the Knicks are going with their lack of defense, I'm not sure how far that can get this Knicks team. Because you can't win 1 or 2 games, then you drop 2 or 3, and maybe out of the 3 that you drop, 2 of them you definitely could have won, but because the defense wasn't good, drop the game. I would rather see a better defensive effort. And even at times, there are times where during the games when the Knicks lose, you'll see moments of good defense. You'll see it collectively as a team, and sometimes you see it individually from certain players. But it's not consistent for the entire duration of a game. And that's a problem. And then, not to mention Tibbs sticking with the same rotation. Not sure how that's going to be sustainable. And I keep saying that because I'm really wondering, how much longer can you keep going with the same rotation? You don't play Kolick. You don't play Pacome. You damn sure don't play Hukporti. I don't know what the hell is wrong with Tom Thibodeau. Don't you want to give those guys a try more than a handful of games and see what they can bring to the table? Let them make mistakes. Sure, this team is trying to go further along this season, but you're not going to go that far using the same 5 guys, 6 guys. You will never know until you try. And again, Grimes had 21 points. I think if Kolick or Pacome or Hukporti was on another team, they would be getting minutes. Not a ton of minutes, but they would be getting minutes. And I think that they would be on a team where either when they play the Knicks, they would play really well against the Knicks, or they would be making a name for themselves, growing their game, being able to show that they're an asset to their team. But unfortunately, with Tom Thibodeau as the head coach, if you're a rookie or you haven't been here for a long enough time, your tenure is really short. I feel bad for you, son, because you really are going to have 99 problems, and most of them are going to be under Tom Thibodeau. You're not going to get any burn. And it's just unfortunate. And I also blame Tom Thibodeau. I get that he's the coach. He can't go out there and play. What is being done about the defense? It's quite frustrating to watch a Knicks game and the defense is just not good. It's very, I don't know. It's just, there's no effort. Again, some nights the Knicks are clicked. The defense is clicking, but most nights it's not. So I don't know, how can you be prepared to face off against your Clevelands, your Bostons, your Memphis, your Thunders? How? Your Warriors, teams like the Kings. How are you going to face off against teams like that and you can't even play a lick of defense? I think the Knicks have a lot of work to do. And the heavy bulk of it is the defensive end. They're not playing balanced. It's like the offense is good, but the defense is just it's a couple of notches under where the offense is for this team. It's just not good. And the Knicks continue to struggle against teams that, again, you played the Charlotte Hornets this afternoon and you almost lost. And this is not me being a Debbie Downer. That game didn't really kick into gear until late in the it came down to the wire. Forget kicked into gear. Yeah, I think they were up by 3 at one point. Then Deuce knocked down another shot after Brunson. But still, Charlotte was right on the Knicks' tail. And Charlotte played guys that don't normally play the game, but they stayed ready. They were ready. They came in the game. Couldn't have told me any different the way they were running up and down the floor playing against the Knicks. But you can't, first of all, you can't have a game like you did against Dallas. You can't have games like that. And for some reason, the Knicks struggle against Dallas. Again, we talked about this earlier. This is an issue last year. But you can't allow a team who has a man down situation, they don't have the bulk of their starters or their main 2-3 guys, and they're playing guys who don't normally get minutes, and you allow them to take it to you. I'm confused. I'm confused. So this is why I say the Knicks are very unbalanced right now as a team. I'm not sure what is it going to take for Mikal Bridges to be more consistent for us either. They're already calling him a bum. I'm not saying that. It's too early in the season because I've seen what he's capable of doing. But I'm not sure what's going on here in New York. And I hope that it's not a case of sometimes when teams bring over like really good players, not even necessarily a superstar player, but a really good player. And sometimes it just doesn't pan out and work out when they come to that particular team, that new team. So I hope that that's not the case. I don't think that it is because he's getting the touches, he's getting the looks, but it's given me, and I'm triggered. Sometimes when he shoots that ball, it reminds me of when RJ Barrett would shoot and it hit the front of the rim. Dude, put some more arc on the shot. You're hitting the front of the rim. You're hitting the back block of the rim. I don't know. I'm not worried about OG Anunoby. It was 2 games. But Mikal Bridges, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm trying to put my finger on it. I'm not sure what's going on there. And I'm hoping that he can come through on a more consistent basis and not be a streaky shooter because we had that last year. We had that with Dante DiVincenzo, streaky. And actually, Dante DiVincenzo's looking a lot better right now. I still like the trade. I don't want to get it twisted. But the way Mikal's playing, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Knicks play New Orleans Sunday. It's a matinee game. They play at 6. I'm looking for the Knicks to beat them. It's like no reason why, you shouldn't be able to beat them. They played today against the Grizzlies. And they've been struggling. So this is what I mean. Like, I don't want to see the Knicks allow a team like New Orleans who can't win a game all of a sudden come to Madison Square Garden where teams love to come. By the way, New Orleans is sitting dead last at 15th place. Dead last in the West. They've only won 4 games. Kind of like Utah when we allowed them to get their fourth win. They just lost to the Raptors. Before that, they lost to Indiana. They lost their last in-season tournament game against the Warriors. Got blown out by Cleveland. They lost to the Mavs, lost to the Lakers. You see the trend? Lost, 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 lost. So I don't want to see them come to the Garden and decide, well, we're feeling real good today. Feeling real good today. So you know what? We're going to go off. And we're going to disrespect the Knicks on their home floor. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Figure out a way to stop them. Figure out a way to win. And that's it. Don't make this a part 2 of what happened when you played against Utah. Who you have to worry about? CJ McCollum? DeJounte Murray? Elfrid Payton? What? I'm not even seeing anybody here that you got to worry about. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who they're playing a ton of minutes. Come on. Like, come on. So I want to see the Knicks get that win tomorrow. I mean, excuse me, Sunday. And then they play Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Tuesday against Orlando. It would be beautiful if they can win that game as well. And then be 4-0 in the NBA in-season tournament. You got a rematch against Charlotte on Thursday. And then we'll probably have to do an earlier preseason game because that Thursday game is at 7:30. And then they play Saturday against Detroit. I have the Knicks going 4-0. You got to start building up some wins. I've been saying this. These are all teams that you should be able to beat. If I'm being conservative, and I'll answer for Diva Locks. Shout out to Diva Locks. She probably would have them 3-1. Because the only, and I don't even want to say Orlando. I think the two games that can be like the one that maybe they drop, surprisingly, could be against Detroit or Charlotte. Because Detroit, when the Knicks play Detroit, it reminds you of when they play like Brooklyn and Charlotte. It's always a close game. The score, for the most part, it's a back and forth for the majority of the game. And same thing with Charlotte. We saw it in the preseason. We've seen it in the other matchups. We saw it today. So I'm gonna go 4-0. I need the Knicks to start building up some wins and beating teams that they should be beating, closing out games. I also need the Knicks to start off games with more energy. Like, why put yourself in a predicament where you got to fight your way through and battle it out because you couldn't take control of the game and you got outscored in the first quarter. Now you got to go extra hard and go crazy in the third and fourth. And then you're trading baskets because you don't play defense. So you got to trade baskets. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go 4-0. No reason why the Knicks should not be able to take Sunday's game. And then I think the Orlando game is going to be interesting. No reason why you should lose to Charlotte and no reason why they should lose to Detroit. So we'll see what the Knicks have in store and what they're going to do. It's always something. Shout out to Kareem Grant. Salute to you. Hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving. Dorkosaurus Rex said, Bridges thinking it up big time. Yeah, something's going on with Mikal Bridges. And I think a big part of it is he's in his own way. He needs to get out of his way and just play the game of basketball. He said the Knicks get lit up by a rookie every night, but the Knicks fans stay saying if we play our own rookies, we gonna lose. Yeah, we can't think like that. The Knicks could win. Why can't they win with a mixture of rookies? I'm not saying they're gonna be the paving way, but they can add something on nights when you're only getting 8 points from Mikal Bridges or 8 points from OG Anunoby. And I'm not saying that that's OG's MO, but right now with Mikal, yeah. So you can go ahead and put Huck Porty in. You can go and put Kolick or Pacome in. Salute Wonder Woman. Yeah, Kyrie definitely. It just looks too easy for him when he plays against the Knicks. Like his confidence level looks even higher when he's playing against us, which is crazy. So we have no defense in the paint or at the 3-point line. Zero defense team. Yeah, this Knicks team plays. They don't play good defense. There's no paint and there's no defense in the paint. The perimeter is wide open. It's open season. Somehow there's always a player open. If you watch when we play literally against damn near every team, there's always someone open on the opposing team. Either in the shortest point of the 3-point line or at the top of the key. There's always someone open. It's like I don't understand. What yeah. I see you caught it because the turnovers, I read it right. The Knicks had way too many turnovers. It's just not healthy. It's not even healthy. Like, at what point, this is why I say, like, who's the vocal leader on this Knicks team? At what point does someone say, we gotta tighten up defensively? Because the rate that we're going, it's not healthy. It's not sustainable. We can't go this way much longer. It's not gonna last. Nostalgic Nick salutes you. Said 3-0 in the tournament. Yeah, the Knicks are 3-0. I mean, and shout out to the Knicks for being 3-0 in the NBA in-season tournament, but I think they have bigger fish to fry. Because, like, hypothetically, the Knicks win the in-season tournament. That's cool, but I think you need to. The reason why I say they have bigger fish to fry is because you need to worry about A, getting past the second round, and then getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, you gotta. Those are more important. And this was the same way I felt about the New York Liberty. When they didn't win their in-season tournament, sucks. You can't win that extra money. You don't get to have bragging rights in a title, but a championship is more important. Get that job done. Get that job done. Salute to Immortal Cuts, Latoria B. Tibbs is going to end up getting fired. This team looks crazy. It's crazy because they also extended Tibbs. So the front office. One thing that I said with Tibbs is, like, before the Knicks started doing all of their trades, like, I'm talking back when the Knicks traded RJ quickly, they got OG. Like, before they started that, my theory was Tibbs would have these meetings with Leon in the front office, and I'm sure he probably told them, like, you want me to make something happen, but look at what I'm working with. And they said, okay, well, we'll give you something to work with. So this is why they started to make the trades and getting this one out, bringing this one in. Do I think Tibbs has everything he needs to work with? I think he has enough. Because, and I said this before, the Knicks knew that Mitchell Robinson is injury prone, just like they know that about OG Anunoby. But they decided to say, we're going to rock with him. I think that the front office is looking at Mitchell Robinson with those same lens that they did with Julius Randle. So when Mitchell Robinson comes back, they're going to be watching him like a hawk. Because if he sustains another injury, they have to part ways. It's not working out. It's a business at the end of the day. And how many more seasons are we going to keep having where Mitchell Robinson either starts the season off for us really strong and then crick, crick, something pops or cracks, something sprains. He's out for a couple of months. We got to hope at whatever timeline he comes back, he could, bounce back and be with us after having many surgeries. Or it's a season like this season, because this is not new. Mitchell Robinson can't start off the season with the Knicks. He sustains an injury, and we got to wait till whenever he comes back. Let's stop banging our heads against the wall. It's becoming insanity at this point. We're expecting a different result, and we're holding on to dead weight. I think what Mitchell Robinson does defensively is excellent. He's a beast defensively. He's a great rebounder. But at what cost? We have to keep waiting around for him because there's always a man down situation with Mitchell Robinson. And I like Mitch, but at what cost? And I think that the front office is going to be looking at him with those lenses, because that was the same lens that they had on Julius. Unfortunately, Julius had got hurt, so he couldn't play in the playoffs, but they were looking forward to seeing what could he do for this team in the playoffs. I saw there was a post that I saw, and the Mavs fans, the Minnesota fans are venting their frustrations on Julius Randle. And I remember I was on the phone with Diva Locks the other day talking to her about this. And I said, I think it was earlier today, I was telling her, and I said, they feel the pain that we feel. And I saw there was some Knicks fans in the comments saying Julius Randle made the Knicks a better team. I don't agree with that. I think Julius Randle individually as a player became a better player while playing for the Knicks. The Knicks did not get better under Julius Randle. When did the Knicks get better under Julius Randle? It's just like when Melo had his tenure with the Knicks. He got even better. Great player. I'm not comparing the two as players. I'm saying during their time with the Knicks, respectively. The Knicks didn't get better. I think the last few years, the Knicks have gotten better compared to where they were when they were literally stinking up the joint, when they were getting booed, when they couldn't even make the playoffs. And I think a big part of that is because they brought Tom Thibodeau over. And I said this before, Tom Thibodeau is known to make teams better. When they're not good, he can get them to a better place. But as a fan, Tom Thibodeau, I look at him and I say, but he hasn't proven that he's able to win a championship with a team yet. And that's what I'm looking to see if he can do that. I don't know if he can do that here with the Knicks. I'm not sure. Is it possible? Sure. He did call out the defense. Okay. I didn't catch that. Yeah, the defense it needs to be called out. It's not good. A Negro One, salute to you. AP salute said, I think this is a sixth place team and a first round exit. Last year team was filled with Warriors. Yeah. I think if the Knicks don't pick up defensively, and it's funny because Diva Locks was just saying this to me a few days ago. She said if the Knicks keep playing around, they're going to find themselves in fifth or sixth place. But the odds are high for the Knicks to go really far this season because of the way the East is made up. But I always say don't get comfortable with that, because those teams who are in 8th, 7th, they can go on a drastic run. They can start getting some wins under their belt. They can start clicking and change things around, just as this Knicks team I want them to do. Tibbs has no mix, all surface level, no layers. Yeah, that's a good one. Well said. He's too readable. If I'm a coach on another team, I'm like, I'm not underestimating the players. I'm underestimating like the level of what Tibbs could bring and do because I can read it. He's not going to bring you anything different. It's kind of like the same thing. And when we see the Knicks do well, it's because they're having a great night. Latoria B said, I have no idea what Tibbs is doing. He should have pulled Mikal way earlier than he did. Exactly. But Tibbs would rather keep rocking with, and I get it. Shooters, you should continue to encourage them to shoot, continue to have them out there and do their thing and shoot. But I just, I don't get it. I'm not sure what's going on. Like I said, he'd rather keep guys out there, sit them down. Sometimes you got to teach guys a lesson. When they're off, they're off. Salute to Paris Struggle. He said Tibbs is becoming a problem. He's so stuck in his one track mind. He's destroying his team. Yeah. Tibbs is stuck in his ways. That's another huge problem. He's very old school. He's not a more modern coach like some of the other coaches in the league. And you could be old school and it works, but I don't know. I think that the Knicks, I don't know how much longer do you keep Tibbs around. And I'm not putting on the blame on Tibbs, but I think what we're seeing as far as like rotations, as far as divvying up minutes, it's looking like the same. As far as Tibbs still figuring out combinations, he can't be figuring out combinations because he's playing the same guys. Porty had that great game and hasn't played since. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know. What else? Let me see. Shout out to Hit 'em Up, New York, New Jersey, always showing love. Salute to you. Shout out to W Ham said, because the wear and tear are starting to take effect on the starters. Exactly. Josh Hart was playing this many minutes last year, if not more. Some nights he was playing 45, 47, 48 minutes. I said, well, damn. Playoffs came. Okay, round one. Hats off to the Knicks. I thought it was a great round one. Round two came. The Knicks looked so tired. The Knicks looked like they had played 2 rounds before the second round. Josh Hart, bruised rib. And I said this to Diva Locks, like we as fans and the Knicks as an organization, very lucky that Jalen Brunson stayed healthy the whole season last year because I don't know what they would have done without him. And I say that when I look at Carl Anthony, like I don't know how far the Knicks would be or if their record would even be what it is if they didn't have Carl Anthony on his team. Hence why the Knicks had to snatch him up last freaking minute. And he's not a good defender either. But you need him for his basketball skill set. But it's each of them individually, the defense stinks, and then it's collectively as a team, the defense stinks. Tibbs sticking with the same handful of guys. I don't know. When you get to the first round, okay, first you got to make sure you finish at least third, maybe fourth, but I'm saying third. Okay, you finish off in third, hypothetically. You get to the first round, you move past the first round. The Knicks are known to move past the first round. You get to the second round, when we get to the second round, let's think about times like now. Let's think about times after All-Star break. And go, are these guys gonna have enough wind to get past the second round? Because it's gonna take the stamina, it's gonna take smart basketball IQ, and it's going to take defense. There's no question like we had maybe 2 seasons ago where we was like, we don't really have nobody who could shoot and make points when we was playing against Miami a few seasons ago, and we had no answer for them because nobody could make a basket. That's not the issue now with this Knicks team. You have several guys who can get you a bucket or two. But if you playing guys 40 minutes, 38 minutes, 37 minutes, 35 minutes every game, 82 games, every game. First round playoffs, you playing that many minutes every game, and you know they're like every other day. You get to the second round, you play a team who's Indiana or that caliber of a team that plays at that level. What are you going to do? Playoffs are a different level. It's not this regular season 82 game crap. It's called turn up the heat to high. Right now it's at low. Get midway late in the season, you put it on medium. Playoffs, you put the heat at high. But if the energy level for the Knicks, because they've been playing so many minutes every game, maybe at a medium, maybe medium low, because they don't have enough to give. Maybe it could be at a medium high the first 2 games, and then they start getting their butts kicked because they don't have anything left to give. Because he's going to keep playing Josh Hart damn near 50 minutes. Josh Hart's not going to sit down. He's going to keep playing them. He's going to keep playing OG Anunoby. He's going to keep playing Carl Anthony. He's going to keep, even when you get Mitchell Robinson, because Mitchell Robinson's only going to be able to play but so many minutes. He's like a fragile piece of glass. Got to tread lightly and really move smart when he comes back. I saw him standing up at today's game, watching last 3-point shot going in. He looking. I've seen Precious Achiuwa standing on the sidelines cheering him on. I don't know. It's just too many minutes being played. This was a thing that was brought up. It was a whole big cahoot last year about Tibbs playing guys too many minutes, and previous players who played for Tibbs on other teams, they didn't like that. It was a whole big thing. I'm just like, he was working with what he had. I don't know. I think this year you can take the load off. I don't know. It just seems like, I'm just saying, I'm not expecting Tibbs to play any rookies. He's only going to do that if they're beating a team by 2025. I'm not going to have my expectations and expect to see a Kolek come in, or Pacome come in, or Huckporty come in. He's not going to do it. Shout out to Robert Woodard, said we're still 11-8. Yeah, it's okay. 11-8 is okay. If they were like 14-5, that looks a little better. Like, even looking at the 11-8 on the screen right now, looks all right. It looks all right. W. Ham said, I think Kolek's confidence seems shot at this point. I hope not, because you have to stay ready, right? You have to stay ready. Like, if between Cam or Deuce, one of them goes out, he needs to be ready to come in and play some minutes to run the point, to help out as backup point. And he has a lot to bring to not just this Knicks team, but any team in the league. His basketball IQ is there, and he's only going to get better. Like Deuce McBride, just kept getting better over the years. But I think he's good enough, Kolek, to give him some minutes. But, I think he needs to work on his defense. I've said that before. But so does the rest of the team who's been in the league. Some of them been in the league for years. But I hope that his confidence, I say this for Pacome, I say this for Huckporty, stay ready. Stay ready. Because you never know when you may have to get a ton of minutes. Hit him up. New York, New Jersey said Neesha, Mitch, Precious back big time. Agreed. Agreed. The more the merrier. So this way Tibbs can kind of divvy up the minutes a little bit more and you can get different looks. Try different rotations. Yeah, I've seen where Atlanta beat Cleveland. That's what I mean. The Knicks got to be able to beat teams like Cleveland and Boston. Dallas. Got to be able to beat Utah. In Utah. You already proved you can beat them at home. I think I'll trade Mitch and Kolek for Walker Kessler. I don't know. I don't know if they're giving him up, to be honest. So he's on like a tightrope. The Knicks should hire Darvin Ham. He's a good coach. I always get nervous too when the Knicks, we have to get a new coach because we haven't had good coaches in a while, good head coaches in a while. We've had a really bad front office for many years. And the same thing with coaches. I think before Tibbs, to me, the last good coach the Knicks had was Woody. Woodson was like the last good coach the Knicks had. Now, granted, he did have veterans on that team at the time, but yeah, I just like we had Fizdale. Someone said that in the chat. He was like, "Remember when we had Fizdale?" And me and Diva Locks just put our heads down in embarrassment and shame. But I don't know. I'm not going to be quick nostalgic Knicks to say fire Tibbs. We all in agreement how we feel about Tom Thibodeau. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think we have bigger issues aside from just the coaching. Because again, the coach is one thing, but the players have to go out there and play. You know, and I do think that you need someone who's hard pressed for better defense, someone who sets up better offensive schemes, especially for our shooters, for guys like Deuce, for guys like Bridges, for guys like Campaign, who are active shooters out there. That was one of my other complaints with Tibbs. I think if you're not an aggressive shooter like Dante DiVincenzo is, when you're playing under Tom Thibodeau, he's not one of those coaches that sets up offensive schemes where he sets it up so that the shooter is coming off curls or a double screen and they can catch shoot. You kind of got to like get your own because he's not that coach. He doesn't set up the offensive schemes like that. And then I think also defensive schemes. I just think sometimes I don't know what's going on defensively. A lot of the times, let me take that back. A lot of the times I don't know what's going on defensively. And then sometimes offensively as well, I don't know what's going on with the Knicks. Like sometimes it doesn't even look like they're running plays. It just looks like they're kind of like they're coming down and maybe it's a play, but it's not really meant to be it wasn't originally going to be a play, and then someone kind of does the head nod to tell someone to come over, set a screen, and then something happens and it works in their favor, but I don't know. Mia Walker salute said, I'm concerned about Bridges, not going to lie. Yeah. He's in his own way. Mikal is in his own way. I'm telling you, I said this. Shout out to Queen. I said this to Queen. I said this to Diva Locks. He, like, if you watch his body language, he's in his own head. He has to, like, stop beating himself up if he doesn't hit a three. Yes, it's frustrating. We get it, but keep shooting. Now, do I think you should keep him out there and he only has 8 points? No, I think at some point you got to sit him down. It's just not your night. Sometimes shooters are going to be off. But I think the consistency so far from him is a little concerning. Absolutely. You know what? Someone said he's Bridges is not the correct roommate. We got the wrong one. I don't know. I've seen a lot of comments about this saying that the roommates podcast, they need to stop it and just focus on ball. Listen, a lot of these athletes have podcasts now. Paul George, Draymond Green, Trey Young, they all have podcasts now. That's all they do is they want to get in the podcast world, and I guess for some it works, and for some it just doesn't work. QARTT 119%. I hope I'm saying that handle right. Salute to you. Said people don't realize how good this show is compared to the rest. The analysis. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Only 5 games under Boston, Cleveland. I'll take that. Yeah, listen, it could be worse. I agree. It can be worse. We can be in 8th and really be mad and trying to figure out what the hell happened from last year to this year. But I still go back to, and I brought this up on the Queen's Court. Shout out to Queen and Ajay. We was on. And shout out to Kareem Grant. He said, I'm wondering, what do we lose from last year that made a difference on this team this year and that we're lacking defensively? And I really don't see the huge difference besides, okay, you don't have Precious Achua and you don't have Mitchell Robinson in the game because you got Deuce McBride back. We've seen the defensive presence that he can bring, because someone put that in the chat and said, oh, well, also Deuce McBride, not because he's out, but because he can help out defensively. But I'm still trying to, and I keep thinking about that question, like, well, what did we lose in the trades that we gave up? And I said this a few minutes ago, Carl Anthony's not a good defender. But I'm wondering, what did we lose from last year? And then you look at this roster makeup this year and you wonder, well, where are we failing defensively? Robert Woodard said, Woody is like Tibbs, though. Johnny Bryan is messed. Yeah. Yeah. Tibbs makes 0 adjustments, just stares. Yeah, with his arms crossed. And then occasionally looks at the bench as if he's going to put someone in. Gotta love it. It's almost like me if they asked me to coach. And I feel like I would do a better job because I would demand defense. I would demand defense. I think the Knicks also lack discipline. They don't talk to each other. Anthony Edwards said him and his teammates, nobody talks to each other. He said it's immature and it's like playing with a bunch of kids. And I'm not going to say the Knicks is at that level, but they definitely don't talk to each other. And I said this before. I said it's like when guys go from college to the NBA, they stop talking to each other on the floor. You may get a couple, you hear in the background, woo, or right here, you get a couple of claps, but they're not talking to each other. At least this Knicks team is not talking to each other. Salute to David Smith. He said, how would an effort like this look against Boston, Cleveland, Orlando, and Indiana? All would be losses. Knicks losing too many bad teams. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing if you lose against teams that you should be beating. It's another thing when you, A, don't give effort against better teams in a league, and then you continue to lose against those teams. In a regular season, you're playing against each team at least 4 or 5 times. At least. You can't only beat Boston one time and Cleveland one time. You can't allow that to happen. You just can't. Indiana had more stamina, more gas in the tank than the Knicks in the second round. Knicks couldn't figure out how to stop them. Again, yes, we had injuries. We didn't have everybody that on the team. David Smith said Tibbs has a losing playoff career record. He has been fired twice for playoff underperformance. Tibbs has never made an NBA Finals, let alone win one. Yeah, and that's my biggest thing. When I look at Tom Thibodeau, and I can't wait till we get like midway in the season because I want to do a show on Tibbs and his performance this year. We'll do it collectively since he's been here, but specifically this year. And that's one of the things that I question with Tibbs is that any team he's coached, they've gotten a lot better. But Tibbs has never won a championship. There was not enough ball movement in getting everyone involved. Too much Brunson hero ball and Brunson worrying about his own statistics. Can't win a title this way. Yeah. The Knicks definitely got away from the ball movement, the unselfish ball movement, the extra pass, the moving without the ball. The last two games against Dallas and today's game against Charlotte, I didn't see enough movement without the ball. People just standing around like they're waiting for the next train to come. Josh Hart is overrated defensively. I don't think Josh Hart defense is that good. I think it is enough to get the job done. I think Josh is good at doing a lot of the things that don't show up on the stat sheet. He's good at diving into the fifth row stands and sliding across the floor to save the loose ball. He's good at being that second, third option that the defense is not worried about, but he's able to spring off of his feet and get you a rebound. He's able to drive. He's doing a better job this year protecting the ball when he drives to the paint. Last year, he was terrible at it. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And he used to want to foul. And I'm like, Josh, I'm on your team. This wasn't a foul. He always wanted a foul, but I'm like, it's the way he was driving to the basket. The basketball was just up for grabs. And I remember when we were playing last year in the first round against Philly, Kyle Lowry, who does this oh so well, he was just sticking his. Matter of fact, that was happening when Kyle was playing on Miami. And he was just swiping the ball away. I'm like, because you're not protecting the ball when you're driving to the basket. Damian Cox salutes that the trade deadline is in February. And so what would be in the know best on going forward? I think, and this is what Diva Locks is saying. Her theory is the Knicks are going to ride it out until that deadline. And listen, here's the thing, though, with the Knicks. If you get rid of, I don't know, we'll just say Mitchell Robinson. I'm just using as an example. I'm not saying that's who I want to go, but if they did. Unfortunately, the Knicks allow themselves to get cornered. So teams don't just want the one player that the Knicks are trying to trade. They want a package deal. So they're going to want Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride. Or like Mitchell Robinson and, I don't know, Josh Hart. I'm just using an example. They're going to want like a combination of two guys. They don't just want one person. So, and it has to be someone. The Knicks have a better chance of trading and getting something in return if they did Mitch, because he has more to give to a team, injury prone and all, than if they was to try to like trade Jericho Sims. Teams are not interested in Jericho Sims. Let's call a spade a spade. They're not interested in him. But I think for now, the front office is going to ride it out. Everybody's being evaluated unless you're a safe bet. You're Jalen Brunson, you're Josh Hart, who they count on, your Carr Anthony, your OG Anunoby. But I don't know. And the thing is that, okay, but who do you grab? Because you don't want to just take crumbs, any old body on this team. And let me just say this, I don't think that this team needs a superstar. They do not need a superstar. You need someone who's going to know their role, can adjust and fit into this team seemingly quickly, and can be an asset and be of value game in and game out. Not a sometime-ish player, not a streaky player, someone who's going to bring consistency, someone who could be a spark off the bench, someone who can add value to this team. Not another guy who we're just going to have sitting on the bench, warming it up, and Tibbs looks at the bench with his arms crossed and knows he's not going to put that guy in. Robert Woodard said, campaign and Deuce got us back in the game. Our bench is slowly coming along. Yeah, but I still think the Knicks don't have a bench. Now, again, maybe it'll look differently when you have Precious and Mitchell Rob come back in. Maybe they'll look like there's more depth there. But, and then on top of that, I don't know. And then I wonder, well, okay, you get them back. How is Tibbs going to disperse the minutes? Because Deuce and Cam, they're not going to sit on the bench. Precious is going to need to come in, and same thing with Mitchell Robinson. So I'm curious how he's going to divvy up the minutes when it comes to those guys. Dante held the perimeter down and hit the three consistently. Like I said, Dante looks a lot better than Mikal Bridges looks right now. But I did think Dante was streaky at times. Indy is 8-10. It's too early to hit the panic button. Definitely not panicking. But I think there's a lot that the Knicks need to really work on and get together. And this is the time I want them to figure it out. Figure out your growing pains. Figure out your early season woes that you're having now. I don't want to see you trying to figure it out late in the season. Figure it out now. And things can be turned around. Immortal Cut said, I hated and still hate the trade that sent Dante away. So you'd have rather seen Dante stay. Dante's actually struggling in Minnesota. They're not happy with the way he's playing. So you think if he would have stayed on the Knicks, he would have been of value and an asset here and still been shooting? And I'm genuinely asking this. I'm not like, I know sometimes I sound like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm just curious because I thought about this. I said, I wonder if Dante DiVincenzo would have still been on this Knicks team. Would he still have been that great shooter for us and providing the necessary baskets and the timely baskets that, you know, we need and the defensive stops? Because he was a great defender as well. But that goes back to what I just said. The Knicks get cornered. Julius Randle's a really good player, but they didn't just want Julius Randle. The Knicks got cornered. They said we need a little bit more than that. And that's what I mean. If the trade deadline comes up and the Knicks try to pitch off a player, the team's going to be like, no, we want that guy and that guy. And then the front office and Leon got to go, well, we ain't going to give you all three. We can possibly give you two. And listen, this Knicks team, the way the front office moves, it's like a good show. You don't want to miss the next episode because They surprise us. We all sitting down and bam, or you at work and your phone's lighting up because it's breaking news. We just got to play or we got rid of somebody. So stay tuned because you don't want to. The Knicks front office is like a really good show on like on Stars or Showtime. You HBO Max. You got to tune in. Kareem Grant said, "We need another iHeart. Precious ain't it? We can't pull all our eggs in one basket with Mitch." Agreed. But who in the league is very or resemble their game resembles or is close to what iHeart can do? Precious for sure can do what iHeart does. Carl Anthony could do it to an extent, but it's not the full throttle. And you can't. I agree. I already said when Mitchell Robinson comes back, you can't play Mitchell Robinson heavy minutes. First of all, is he going to be in good shape or is he still going to be working on conditioning and getting back in shape? And two, he's so fragile that you don't know if he may tweak something, and a few months down the line of him being back. It's not me being negative, Nancy. I'm being realistic. We've been dealing with this 4 years, 5 years, however long he's been a Knick. And that's why I said you can't put all your eggs in one basket with Mitch, but I also think that you can't do that with Carl Anthony, Precious, and Sims. Sure, those two guys are good backups, but I don't know. And that's why I said like 2 episodes ago, I think the front office kind of messed up a little bit because what happened in the offseason created a domino effect, and we're seeing it now in the season. Not panicking. What's done is done. But when the Knicks front office heavily relied on trying to sign Isaiah Hartenstein, knowing damn well they couldn't because they didn't have all the capital to give what he was looking for, that created a delay in us getting the right center that we needed. Hence why we got Carl Anthony so late in the game. The Knicks had to pull some type of strings to get someone over here, but they didn't just want to take any center that was still what was left available. And I think that like maybe things would have looked a little differently if they would have been able to get or sign Isaiah Hartenstein and keep him here. Maybe things will look a little differently. Isaiah Hartenstein brought ball movement. There was player movement, cutters to the basket, blocks, rebounds, second and third chance opportunities. And he held it down while Mitchell Robinson was injured. So, I don't know. I just think that I think we are good because one of my concerns last season was the point guard position. So I think we're good in that we have backups in that regards. God forbid something happens to Jalen Brunson. But I still think our 5 positioning, there's some space there. All positioning ain't filled. And I say that even if you do have Mitchell Robinson back. And it has nothing to do with Mitchell Robinson not being able to give you anything offensively or much offensively. I just think that you have to tread lightly because you don't know the status of how long he can remain healthy. And Precious Achua, I think we're all looking at him too. At the start of the season, there was talks that if he can have a really good season, he'll have teams wanting to sign him. He can do kind of like what Isaiah Hartenstein did. But I also think just in general, he has some things to prove to us as a fan base as well. Like how many games last season was he right near the basket and he was missing, layups, finger roll layups. I thought he made up for it and I feel like he found a home here, and maybe with him playing on the floor with OG, he'll play well and he can get back into the groove of things. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that we remain healthy. And I hope that there's some long-term changes rather that'll help us in the long run. Josh Hart to the bench for a rim protector at center. Who? Because that's what I want to know. Like, who in the league? Not even just that the Knicks are bring here, but that Tibbs is going to play. Tibbs has issues with trust. It's like Tibbs is like, I don't know you, my guy. You could be good and all, you could do your thing in practice, but I don't really know you. You could have a couple of good games in a season. I don't really know you. I don't know why I didn't like Tibbs is running anything special offensively or defensively. Humberto de la Os, shout out to you, said Tibbs is running the team and I am so proud of what they are doing. I mean, listen, I don't think that this team is doing poorly. It could be worse. We could be stinking last. But I think this team could be a lot better. The goal is to get better each game. The goal is to get better each year, which they've been doing. The goal is also to get out of the second round this year. Got to put a little pressure on these teams. This is very true. Towns and Brunson are the first point guard and center duo to average 25 points per game since Kobe and Shaq. They are the top point guard center duo in the league. Their numbers are first. And Carl Anthony is first in points per game and two other stats, which I read off like 2 episodes ago for centers in the East. This is what I'm saying. The Knicks on paper, stat wise, it looks great. It's positive. But when you visually watch the games, you're like, well, wait a minute. The paper says, and then you watch a game or two and you like, it can't be. The stats don't lie, right? Like the ball don't lie, the stats don't lie. Kareem said, I agree. We need a blue collar player. Not, yeah, get somebody who's going to come in and be gritty, aggressive, who's going to be scrappy, kind of like iHeart. iHeart came in on some like knuck if you buck. Y'all think I'm soft because I'm not Mitchell Robinson? Yeah, he got dunked on, but he took it with pride. And he made up for it at the other end of the floor. That's what I want to see. Have some pride. Be more aggressive. Want it more. Find a way. And the Knicks have done that really well last season. They found ways to not get blown out, but to get back into games and come back from 20, down by 20, down by 17 and cut into the lead. They've done it so far this season a few times, but you gotta like one, avoid getting in those situations, but find those guys who are going to go out there and give you the second chance opportunities, who's going to be a defensive stopper in the paint, who's going to talk to other guys and tell them, get out there. When you're watching film, watch the film and say, yo, see what I mean? You're crowding up the paint, and this is why the perimeter is wide open. Call guys out. You scared to call another grown man out for? What is the end goal here? Is it not to win? We need a center here who's going to be gritty, who don't give two Fs, who's going to block shots, get us second chance, third chance opportunities on the boards, who can box out. That's another thing I barely see the Knicks do. Box out. Watching the ball go up in the air, and then I will say I do see Jericho Sims do a really good job boxing out. And I'll see Carl Anthony at times. They're looking for where their man is at, and then they're boxing out. I'll see OG do it too, but they got to be better at that. Immortal said, I think he was in a groove here. He was also more physical and quicker on defense than Mikal. Yeah, for sure. Dante was definitely quicker. I think, like I said, Mikal is in his head. He is in his head, and he has to get out of his head. Robert Woodall said, it'll be Deuce, Cam, Precious, Shamit, and Mitch. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll make us have more depth. And I'm hoping that once you get Precious, Shem, and Mitch back, Tibbs plays with the lineups. He brings in those bench guys in, allows them to get the minutes, allows them to play the game. That's what I want to see Tibbs do. Salute Nick Yak. He said, first game I missed. What was the storyline of the game? Not good defense. Very much back and forth game against Charlotte. Knicks was playing against Charlotte C squad, BC squad, and they almost beat the Knicks. Um, yeah, Brunson played a good fourth quarter. I think he had 11 in the fourth. But the Knicks almost lost that game. Let's keep it real here. A win is a win. They're not gonna always be pretty, and I'll take it. But you almost let rookies, guys that don't even get no burn, beat you. Didn't even have LaMelo there. Can't allow that to happen. And that's what I mean for Sunday. You can't allow New Orleans. Here, put it like this: don't allow New Orleans to get their fifth win because they don't lost their last 4 or 5 games. Don't allow them to get their fifth win on your home floor like you allowed Utah to get their fourth win on their home floor. Shut it down. Immortal Cut said Brunson's ankle is still sore. Hope he's able to rehab that in a short time span. I know a lot of these games are like every, other day, every 2 days. Damian Cox said if the Knicks don't advance to the third round in the playoffs, then what? I think they have to do some serious evaluating. Not just on the players, but on Tom Thibodeau. Because I think it's going to be a combination. Because this team has proven that they can make it to the playoffs. They've proven that they can get to the first round and get past the first round. They've proven that they can get to the second round. But like I said, the goal is to not only get better each game, but it's to get better each season. And you have to figure out a way to get past that second round. Like as a team, also, you should want to be able to be like, yo, let's elevate, let's get better than we were the last 2 seasons. So they have to figure out a way to get past that second round. And I think if they don't, then the front office has to take a hard look at who we have and what are we missing. And don't delay in the off season. And I'm not saying to shake up the roster and get rid of everybody. That's not what I'm saying, but I think that they may have to make some changes. Nikiak said Mitch takes less than 5 shots a game and averages 8.5 points on his own. Nobody passes to Mitch. 70% career shooter, which would average 10.5 with 1 pass or 2 to him. Yeah, but I think that also goes to show why Brunson needs to find balance as a point guard. Like we know you could score. We know you could give us 20 plus points a game. I think Brunson needs to really work on this season, and I said this already. He needs to work on his balance at being a facilitator, setting guys up to shoot and cutting to the basket, demand that guys cut to the basket. I want to see him grow that 2-man game with both Carl Anthony and Mitchell Robb. They'll be lethal if they utilize that more. They're not utilizing it as much. With Carl Anthony, you have more range, but even with Mitch, if you throw the lob to him, he can make it. But it's going to take Brunson to trust and do that more. Parrish said we would have 3 more wins with a great coach. You think so, Parrish? And probably, you're not wrong. I think with the right coach, the defense would be a lot stronger, for sure. which will help us out in the long run. David Smith said, I would love the Knicks to trade for Marcus Smart. He's an elite defender, passer, experienced winner, can score, leader, gritty, tough players. And who would you want to get rid of to get Marcus Smart here? And I agree, the Knicks do always seem to be outcoached. Because I feel like we already have not the direct replica of what Marcus Smart does, but I feel like we already have players who could give you what he can give. You know, like for all of that, I feel like you could have just kept Dante DiVincenzo. So I don't know. I think that the Knicks, I'm not pushing a panic button. We're not even midway into the season yet. But I think that we have to continue to watch what this team is doing offensively, defensively, for them to find their balance, for them to find their rhythm. They haven't found their rhythm yet. So I don't know. We'll see. What's today? Friday? Yeah, we'll be back Sunday. I may be back alone because I don't know if Diva Locks could join me. Shout out to Diva Locks. I don't even know if she's tuned into this, but yeah, I'll be back Sunday and I'll be talking pregame for before the New Orleans game. So I'll be on at 11. New Orleans, they play New Orleans at home at 6 on Sunday. So definitely going to be tuned into that game. Shout out to the chat. You guys are very active today. I appreciate you guys joining with me and rocking with me. If it's your first time here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button if you like the content. Shout out to the replay gang as well. And those of you who leave us comments, we always love engaging because we love talking all things New York Knicks. We love talking all things basketball. We follow the news for not just the Knicks, but other teams as well. But the Knicks are our team. And in the summertime, if you love the WNBA, we talk all things New York Liberty. And actually during the winter, this is their first season doing the Unrivaled League. So we'll be doing some coverage on that as well. That should be pretty dope. So yeah, shout out to you guys. And also you guys can catch me on Mondays. I'm on the Queen's Court, which is Stephanie, aka Queen's channel. I'm on with her, Tony Crow. Shout out to Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises. Check out his channel as well. Jeff Clafter, who has the Happily Ever Clafter vlog. Pretty good read if you guys want something to read while you're waiting around. Check it out. And then Ajay sometimes when he joins, but he's also from Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk, which they come on every Thursday. That's also with Queen. That's her other channel with Jarrell, Ajay, and Jeff Clafter as well. So yeah, if you guys don't get to check us out, we come on live every Thursday. Didn't come on clearly because of Thanksgiving, but we come on every Thursday evening at 7, and then we go on live on Sunday mornings at 11. And then every Monday, like I said, you can catch me on the Queen's Court. We come on at 7:30 p.m. You could check us out on there. It's also a great show. We talk all things New York Knicks. Steph asks really good questions, so it's a vibe. So just check us out. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday weekend. Enjoy the rest of it. I'll see you guys on Sunday. And yeah, peace out, everybody. I'll see you all. Have a good one.